Second time running, India are out of the World Cup semi-final. Second time running, New Zealand have made it to the finals of the ODI World Cup. The stunning upset that everybody had been waiting for throughout this tournament has materialized finally in this two-day ODI here in Manchester. The first semi-final of this 2019 Cricket World Cup. New Zealand have beaten India to progress to the final on Sunday at Lord's. Set to make 240 in their 50 overs. They continued with those 4 overs in the morning, got those few extra runs that they wanted, and set India, which was not really a steep target, but on a very tough surface, made tougher by a penetrative New Zealand attack and some superb fielding. It was impossible, did prove to be impossible. India making a horrible start, 3 wickets in 11 balls, 5 for 3. Their top 3 batsmen, Rohit Sharma, KL Rahul, Virat Kohli, the 3 of them scoring 50% of India's runs in this World Cup, gone for 1, 1 and 1. It was India's biggest nightmare come to life.
It was just the kind of performance you were expecting India not to come up with. But, in cricket they say that the law of averages is a strong thing, and you would have expected the law of averages to hit India at some point of time, but the way it hit them was probably, you can say, not something that too many people saw coming. 5 for 3, 9 out of 10 times, you can't really recover from damage as big as that. And, we've already spoken so much about how India is too dependent on the top 3. I won't say too dependent, but yeah, they are very reliant on the top 3. And once your top 3 are out for just not even 10 runs there, Trent Bolt, Matt Henry, this is just the kind of, also the fact that the conditions were just about perfect, overcast conditions, plenty of seam there, slight movement of the surface as well. And Trent Bolt is probably somebody who you don't really need to say too much. He knows he's probably the best mover of the new ball in these conditions. And even Matt Henry, he's shown time and again that with the new ball, partnering somebody like Trent Bolt, he can be an asset, and that's just about it. And once that equation got 24 for 4, 92 for 6, wasn't really much of a hope. Plenty of good performances, you can say that the bits and player pieces has finally come into his own elements. A nice fight back from MS Dhoni and Ravindra Jadeja, putting on those 116 runs, and they did that at a stage where things just seemed improbable, and you would probably know that this is all about it. We all had started writing New Zealand centric reports, but yeah, that's what you expect from a team like India, not throwing in the towel just about yet, but New Zealand emerging as the top side.
Well, the point that you underlined so well was the top or a dependency or the reliability. When I mentioned that they've got 50% of India's runs in this tournament, you look at KL Rahul, who's come into this tournament, produced some good form, and he's in a way filled the shoes left vacant by Shikhar Dhawan. But that does not belay the fact that India's middle order has a problem. You have number 4 Rishabh Pant, who's played 8 ODIs. You have number 5 Dinesh Karthik, who was in Leeds telling us that he was supposed to do the number 7 role, but he was sent in number 5 today. Dhoni coming down at number 7. So there's a flexibility about the Indian middle order, but inherent weakness is also there. You look at somebody like Rishabh Pant, so talented, so attacking, but at the end of the day, that shot he played off Mitchell Santer, who was bowling such a wonderful spell, 7 overs for 6 runs, or 6 runs for 6 overs for 7 runs, and there was so much pressure, and instead of moving it around for those singles, he went for the big shot at the biggest boundary where there was a fielder at mid-wicket. So these are issues that he needs to sort out. Then there is obviously the issue that do you have enough reliable batsmen in the middle order? These things have not been sorted out for the last 2 years. Will they be sorted out for the next World Cup in India? We don't know, because that's not how this Indian team management works. How big a factor was that when you look at the standout performers for India in this World Cup? Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, KL Rahul to an extent. There's the debate over MS Dhoni, but Mohammad Shami, Jasprit Bumrah, the wrist spinners to an extent did very well. Ravindra Jadeja doing well today. That middle order weakness, it was inherent, it was obvious, and New Zealand made it count.
I mean, see, time and again, this has been spoken about something as that requires solution, that requires immediate fix. But yeah, you would expect somebody like Rishabh Pant, who's been spoken about as probably the next big thing is in Indian cricket at the moment. Beg your pardon. The fact that Virat Kohli was simply absolutely disgusted with the fact that he played that shot. It was visible on his face. Although in the press conference he defended him, but yeah, you would expect a little bit of strike rotation on a surface where the ball wasn't really easy to come on. But again, Hardik Pandya, Rishabh Pant, they're expected to be youngsters, and but I think a little bit of credit also goes to Mitchell Santner. I mean, he probably found the best two players to bowl to, who have a tendency to go after the bowling. And when you bowl like that,
and not rotate the strike as much.
And when you bowl like that, two players who aren't known much for strike rotation as they're known for power hitting, that's probably what you're going to get out of it.
And now we have to talk about the New Zealand side, because on Tuesday when they were batting and everybody was talking that they're batting so slowly, Kane Williamson coming to the rescue, Ross Taylor coming to the rescue, the top order not scoring, the lower order not scoring, they were going so slow, everybody was making fun of them. What they did not realize, that it did not matter that the skies were grey, it did matter that the pitch was really, really slow. And New Zealand, yes, they have not scored 300 in this tournament, but they have defended 240, 280, 290. A number of times in this tournament, they have perfected the art of attrition cricket on slow pitches, on pitches that get progressively worse during a match. And this was a New Zealand masterclass in that sense. Wouldn't you say that?
Absolutely. Nobody gave them a chance. I mean, this is one of those instances. I mean, just compare this semi-final to the Champions Trophy final of 2017. Nobody gave Pakistan a chance back then. Not many gave New Zealand a chance here, just because they had lost 3 matches in a row. But like Gary Stead and Loki Ferguson mentioned, they were very happy to fly under the radar, very happy to let India, solve the burden of expectations. Nothing to be expected out of them, but yeah, full credit to New Zealand. 3 matches in a row. This is probably the kind of cricket New Zealand played during that first half of the ICC Cricket World Cup 2019 that made them one of the only 2 teams to remain unbeaten during that phase. But absolutely, like you said, the batting, Kane Williamson, as long as Kane Williamson is batting, us writers, we don't really need to think much about what to write, when to write about him. Just a class act altogether, and this is where I think he scores over Virat Kohli. He's obviously, Virat Kohli is the best batsman in the world by a long shot, but this is where Kane Williamson understands the situation. He knows that there wasn't too much batting left after him, and also the batsmen who are to come after him haven't really been among the runs. So what he does, plays out deliveries. There was a period when New Zealand scored just 20 runs in 9 overs, so that was alarming, but in hindsight you would understand just how important that knock from him and also the 74 from Ross Taylor was.
Well, there you have it. The 2 batsmen that have mattered for New Zealand throughout this tournament, they stood up once again in the semi-final. The 2 batsmen who have stood out for India throughout this tournament, they did not. And that was the key difference between the 2 sides, as New Zealand have marched and confirmed their spot in the final at Lord's on Sunday. But before we go, and we're both heading to our 3rd day of cricket on Thursday in Birmingham, the 2nd semi-final, just a small question about that, Aditya. England versus Australia. England the host, Australia, well, the perennial champions, you can say, and they're also the defending champions. Australia have never lost a World Cup semi-final. England in the first semi-final since 1992. We don't have to define what the England-Australia rivalry means, but how big is this match?
I think by the time we reach Edgbaston, we would figure out, with all the crowd gathering up the stadiums and all the pumping and everything. But yeah, you wouldn't expect something as big as this right before the Ashes. There's the Ashes now. England, Australia facing in a semi-final. But you don't really know what's going to happen. But personally, I would want to see a New Zealand-England final, just for no repetitions to take place again.
Well, you won't be very popular in Australia. Don't try for visa overnight. Let just Australia perform. But there you have it. New Zealand on their way to London and await the winner of the England-Australia clash on Thursday. India, sadly, and to the big disappointment of their billion fans, they are headed home.